Hi, beautiful people. Hope you guys are doing fantastic wherever you are in the world. Let me continue demonstrating and exposing how pitiful, pathetic, shameful, and most importantly, a liar without a crystal ball is. She should be ashamed of herself at this point. Something she posted today demonstrates how Katie Joy herself cannot seem to keep her story straight. But before I get into that, this is how she is treating someone she once called a dear friend, and also, at one point, she asked this dear friend to validate their friendship so she could show the public she is not lying. So Kristy actually sent a note so Katie Joy could share to the public. It says a message from Kristy Blanchard. Katie from Without a Crystal Ball is a close personal friend of mine. Our friendship is not solely based on Gypsy. We have formed a really close bond and I'm proud to call her a friend. So, to the public who are saying that Katie is not a friend to me is absolutely false. She has been a voice for me for many years. That's good to know. She even has a close relationship with Gypsy as well. Does she now? I also want to say I just don't think of Katie as a friend. I think of her as family. Kristy Blanchard and I have been friends for almost 5 years. Our relationship is not just about Gypsy. We have developed a connection that has surpassed her being a source. Many people have been trying to state that I don't know Kristy or Gypsy Blanchard. This is false. I have gotten to know both of them. They both have my phone number. I know way more than I ever report. Oh, do you? I only report after leaks happen to the media. Oh, that we know. I have known about Gypsy's split and marriage issues for a long time. I only report after it's been revealed by other outlets because I can speak to what I know from my conversations with them. But I am not a yes person to either of them. When I have concerns, I express them as a friend. Or are you the fixer? Gypsy is a 32-year-old woman that was effectively stunted in her emotional maturity due to severe abuse by her mother. She reminds me a lot of how I acted in my teen years. Gypsy has never been able to live life and make her own choices. This means she is inexperienced and she makes mistakes. She will admit that she can be impulsive and react out of emotion or trauma. Gypsy is not a perfect person. She 100% committed a crime and she understands the gravity of that crime every day. Gypsy relies so much on her stepmom and dad for guidance in very basic day-to-day activities. Regardless of all this, I can be extremely honest with Kristy anytime something is bothering me. She almost always has the exact same concern as me. The difference between my reporting and others is that I don't believe piling on and criticizing Gypsy is beneficial to her recovery or rehabilitation. The world is expecting her to act like a typical 32-year-old, forgetting she was abused and medically traumatized for 23 years by her mom. These same people will come at Gypsy for manipulating Nick Godejohn, who is autistic, while ignoring that Gypsy was a victim of horrific abuse, neglect, physical, and SA for years. Gypsy was tied to a bed for 2 weeks and beaten by her mom when she tried to escape. Don't pretend to advocate for Nick and pretend like Gypsy wasn't a victim. Don't ignore that Nick fantasized about murder for years before ever meeting Gypsy. Period. As you can see, this was done on April 4th. Let's actually listen to how she feels about Kristy now.
Why is Kristy on the phone with content creators for 5 hours? Isn't that weird? I'm starting to wonder if Kristy is also a narcissist with the amount of time she spends online trying to get people to defend her. I do think Kristy's narcissistic. Why would she spend so much time worrying about what people online think about her? Kristy's the one that chose Lifetime. Kristy's the one that worked the contract. Do you think she's scheming with Bree about how she's going to get Katie for having an opinion that doesn't fit her narrative? Hey, Kristy, if you're watching, I just want to ask you something. Kristy, I would like you to explain to Gypsy why you think she's a sociopath. Tell Gypsy that you agreed with me last week that she's a sociopath. Kristy, tell Gypsy how you told me last week that you think she's out of control. Kristy, tell Gypsy that you're telling people online that she needs people to hold her accountable. Kristy, tell Gypsy that you told me last week that you are fully prepared and know that CPS will be involved with the baby because you are fully prepared and know that Gypsy is not prepared to be a mother. Kristy, tell Gypsy about all of the people that you're talking to about Gypsy behind her back. Kristy, why are you talking to people behind your stepdaughter's back, telling them that you believe she's a sociopath, not equipped to being a mother? And why are you telling them that you know that CPS is going to be involved? Is that what a mother that loves a child tells people? Kristy, why are you spending so much time spreading all of this negativity about a stepdaughter that you claim that you love? Why are you in people's DMs, on content creators' Facebook pages, leaving comments? So Kristy, why? Why are you privately telling everyone that you can't control Gypsy? Why are you privately spreading her PR information around? Why are you privately telling people that like you were yelling at her and like chased her into a shed and like we're trying to tell her to get offline and controlling what she's done and telling her that she puts so many fires out on the internet that she can't keep up? And then why, when you go live with Gypsy, are you pretending like you haven't been having to mediate all of the fights between Gypsy and Ken? Why are you publicly acting like Ken is the good guy when you know full well that Gypsy and Ken are fighting like crazy? And why are you telling people that Gypsy is going through Ken's phone constantly and picking fights with Ken for having photos of ex-girlfriends when Gypsy's entire marriage is all on television? I know this because Kristy told me this. Kristy told me last week that Gypsy's going through Ken's phone. Kristy told me last week that Gypsy and Ken have been fighting, that Gypsy doesn't trust Ken, that she got mad because Ken had like 5 photos of his ex-girlfriend in her phone, that she gets mad at Ken for being immature. She thinks Ken is immature. She doesn't think Ken will be a good father. And then Kristy told Gypsy that she had a lot of nerve to say that Ken was immature. Why would Kristy tell me this? Because I've known her for 5 years. 5 years I've known Kristy. And you guys, Kristy doesn't have the hots for Ken. It's not like that. Kristy doesn't think like that. It's not about having the hots for Ken. Kristy has the hots for power and control and manipulation. And she can control Ken better than she can control Ryan, and Ryan hated her. But Ken is a passive beta man that Kristy can steamroll.
First of all, thank you so much to Llama Girl, and all credit goes to her for these clips. You can find her on Twitter. Her link is in my description box. Now, Katie Joy, why are you questioning Kristy for sitting on the phone with other creators for 5 hours? Because when she was doing the same thing with you, and when you were cool with her, it wasn't an issue. But now that you got kicked to the curb, it's an issue. You sad. As you guys can see, no matter how long someone has been friends with Without a Crystal Ball, and how long Without a Crystal Ball has been putting her friends on a pedestal, and if she feels wronged by them, this is what she does. And once again, this is not new. This is just a pattern for Katie Joy. Now, moving on to the post that she made today. Gypsy Blanchard hires PR team. And as you can see, the screenshot says, Thursday, June 27. Oh, you really did get a new PR. Yes, it's called Red Banyan. Awesome. They keep it nice and clean. Katie Joy says, I know a lot of people have asked about Gypsy's PR company. Who has? In June, she told that she hired Red Banyan. The company does crisis PR for high-profile people dealing with scandals. This is the company that wants her to exploit her pregnancy and birth for profit. So, Katie Joy, as per the text, you had already known since June that Gypsy hired this PR team. But as you have been reporting as of the past few days, you have stated that you just found out last week.
Gypsy Rose Blanchard is on the path to becoming an influencer. In fact, she has hired a PR company, and they have put together this PR strategy, which they are implementing to help her become a better social media influencer. This document was provided to me via text message last week by Kristy Blanchard.
So which is it, Katie Joy? Did you find out about the PR company last month or last week? I will leave a link to 2 lives, one of Katie Joy's and another live where Katie Joy went on another creator's panel for 5 hours. So if you have the time, feel free. This is where she also said that she knew about it last week. You also forgot to mention in June, did she tell you or who she told that she hired Red Baron? Because you failed to put, or maybe you just forgot to put who she told in your post. And another thing is that, did the company want that for Gypsy, or did Gypsy want that for herself? Because They cannot make her do something she doesn't want to do. And you know better than anyone else at this point that Gypsy is only looking out for Gypsy. This is where I felt Katie Joy's maliciousness and vindictiveness showed. I'm no fan of Gypsy, and I think this is low, especially after Katie Joy stood tall, stuck her neck out for Gypsy. This speaks volumes about Without a Crystal Ball's character. She posted, Gypsy Blanchard has the traits of someone with her genetic microdeletion. In January this year, the story Gypsy Blanchard's defense team spun to the public started to completely unravel. Kristy Blanchard became aware that Gypsy had a microdeletion in the late fall of 2023. That is false. Medical records proved that Gypsy had been diagnosed with a rare microdeletion that explained many of the surgeries, medical procedures, and tests Dee Dee Blanchard had Gypsy go through as a child. Gypsy was diagnosed with the 1q21.1 microdeletion when she was a child. 75% of children with this disorder have delayed development, motor skills delays for walking, sitting, standing, and mild intellectual disabilities. Facial features with the forehead, nose, and eyes are also common. Side by side, Gypsy with another girl diagnosed with the same disorder. Other issues are short stature. Gypsy is only 4'11". Microcephaly, which Gypsy is diagnosed as having eye problems, hearing loss, heart defects, feeding issues, and many individuals needing feeding tubes. Neurological problems include seizures, weak muscle tone, and hypertonia. Additionally, mental illnesses such as risk factors for schizophrenia are seen in some people. Other risk factors are autism, ADHD, behavioral problems, and sleep disturbances. Gypsy's eye surgeries were due to the condition. Her chronic ear infections were also a byproduct. Gypsy has publicly stated that she threw up a lot as a child and was diagnosed with GERD. She was diagnosed with failure to thrive, and GERD was when she was 7 years old. Doctors performed numerous tests before placing a feeding tube and performing a Nissen to prevent her reflux. When Gypsy was a child, she needed a feeding tube. This wasn't faked by her mom. Her mom did make up that Gypsy had cancer and paraplegia. This was done to get monetary benefits and wishes from organizations. Gypsy is aware that she has a microdeletion. Kristy told me that Rod was told by Dee Dee's mother, and Dee Dee should never have children. Dee Dee was diagnosed with schizophrenia, which is a risk factor of the deletion. Gypsy has a high probability of passing on this deletion to a child. This was a pivotal point for me when I realized that Gypsy and her defense had misled people. Was it pivotal, Katie Joy? Because this all happened in January, as you stated. So the first time that you did turn on the Blanchards was in May. That's like 5 months that you felt was a pivotal point, but you still went to bat for Gypsy and the Blanchards. Let me humor you guys and let's revisit what Katie Joy said the first time she turned on the Blanchards. It will be very eye-opening and informative, I guarantee you. Katie Joy at this point had just found out that Gypsy Rose had met with Kim Kardashian and was going to appear on the Kardashians. She states, I can't support this anymore. I have stood by for 5 years in support of Gypsy and her family, but I have reached the end of my journey. I have made my feelings known to the family. I made them clear in January. Profiting off murder is wrong. Becoming famous for murder is wrong. Setting up trust funds to bypass laws regarding profiting off crime is wrong. There is no advocacy here. There is only a quest for fame and money. In fact, one of their producers told them, go get your bag. They have been hyped up by Melissa Moore, who exploits crime victims and has made Gypsy and her family believe they are famous. Melissa believes Gypsy can get rich off this, according to what I was told. This is what it's about, money. Gypsy was abused, but she is still a murderer. I have been clear about my concerns for months, but I just can't do this anymore. Gypsy isn't a bad person, but bad people in Hollywood are in her head. They believe anyone critical are haters. It is wrong to glorify murder. She was told to stay off social media, but she reopened her accounts. She is getting in fights with people on TikTok in comments. She was told to not get involved with Ken during her divorce by her lawyer. She was told not to speak to the media. I found out a few weeks ago it is Gypsy that is leaking to the tabloids. It's all too much. I just hope at some point they can see that the fame and money is not the goal. Meeting Kim Kardashian and the red carpet fanfare is where I tap out, because this is not what they said they wanted or that would happen. I wish them the best. Until I can see change and work that is beyond money and fame, this doesn't align with my platform in any capacity. Abuse victims can survive without murdering the abuser. Gypsy does have a microdeletion. I saw the records this winter. She has many actual issues due to the disorder. Dee Dee exaggerated the symptoms for money and attention. I do believe Gypsy's developmental issues are part of this disorder, but that is just my gut feeling. Gypsy did not need a feeding tube and never had seizures. She was abused, but did not have to kill her mother. Without a crystal ball, went from having a gut feeling 2 months ago to now making posts like she's a professional. Pause, go back and read this yourself, because let's backtrack. Gypsy did not need a feeding tube, as she stated here. Now, she needed the feeding tube because of her GERD. Gypsy did not have seizures. And as of a recent post, neurological problems include seizures. She claims that she knows Gypsy has microdeletion. But you see how malicious and vindictive and manipulative Katie Joy is, that by her now posting about Gypsy's microdeletion and putting those two pictures together, that's just her going after Gypsy's looks, in my opinion, and just wanting to be malicious and get revenge on her feelings being hurt. As you can see, she openly calls Gypsy a murderer. So let's take a look at how she rekindled her friendship after a 3-hour call. That's all it took, was attention through a 3-hour call to gain Katie Joy back. I have archived my previous post about Gypsy Rose Blanchard, not because I still don't feel concerned or have issues with the way Lifetime is handling the situation, but because no matter what, my post came from a place of protection. I want to be clear that Kristy nor Gypsy manipulate or dictate my feelings about them. Katie Joy, it's 2 months later, and you're claiming you were manipulated and used. When I have a concern, I can always express my feelings to them. And I stand firm that I don't like how Lifetime has handled her story. And who are you? I don't believe the image they portray of her on socials give the story the seriousness or care it deserves. Okay, Miss Archival Consultant. Gypsy is not a perfect victim. I don't agree with the fact that she murdered Dee Dee. But the thing about Gypsy is that she doesn't believe she should have murdered her mom either. I don't have to support every decision that she makes to still want the best for her and her family. Gypsy is impulsive. She will tell you that herself. She also has trauma from her abuse and often reacts from a trauma response when she feels out of control. She isn't an evil, horrible human. She is flawed, like we all are. My concern for her is that she takes care of herself. I sometimes forget that she's under contract and she has a massive network that is pushing all of this out. So much of what is posted on social media is done by Lifetime. Gypsy and I had a very long talk today, and I'm very open with her about my concerns. She heard them and agreed that she does need to take a step back. I will never pile on her. I will never hate her for a crime. I will support her taking care of herself and getting help. I don't want my friendship of 5 years with Kristy to end over Lifetime's agenda. Kristy isn't a bad person. She's a fierce, protective mom. But my favorite thing about Kristy and Gypsy is that I can tell them that I do not agree with what I am seeing and they don't get mad. Gypsy is not in violation of the terms of her parole. Lifetime is using her platforms for promotion. She is also allowed to be paid to share her life today because it has nothing to do with her crime. Gypsy will never convince the public of who she is or who she is not. This is my opinion and theory, and I don't believe in coincidences. And like I said, the writing was on the wall all along. Katie Joy felt that she was the unofficial PR person. And recently, when it became reality that Gypsy hired a real PR firm, Katie Joy's feelings got hurt and she decided to take revenge on Gypsy and her entire family. After Katie Joy rekindled her relationship with Kristy and Gypsy, and she made that post where she says she can't do it anymore, she cut ties with them. If you guys remember, that's the same day or night that Gypsy went on her Instagram and said that she was going to take a break from social media. It was, as you guys saw, without a crystal ball, was spilling quite a few secrets about the money aspect of how they were hiding money allegedly, how Melissa Moore told them to go get their bag, how Gypsy Rose is a murderer. Clearly, they knew that Katie Joy knew things that they didn't want out there. So their best bet was to just fall in line. And a week later, Gypsy did an interview with Juju Chang. And there's something that she said that just stood out like somebody was punching me in the face. And I remember Katie Joy in that post saying, Gypsy is not a perfect victim. Listen to what Gypsy said in her interview.
You're often portrayed either as the victim of Munchausen or the murderer.
Right.
And what do you want people to know about you?
Quite honestly, I'm starting to feel like they want a perfect victim, and there is no such thing as a perfect victim.
Now, it is either a total coincidence or she was schooled by Katie Joy, her unofficial PR person, in my opinion. Now, as of recently, when Katie Joy found out that she was out and the new PR firm was in, and according to her reportings and her lives, she stated that she found out last week. Last week, she started posting these very weird posts. For example, this was a very old post that Gypsy Rose had done. She said, Gypsy Blanchard acknowledges Son of Sam laws which prohibit profiting off of a crime. And if you can see from the screenshot, it says the 16th of the 6th. Gypsy Rose Blanchard finally addressed the laws that prohibit profiting off crimes. Missouri laws prohibit her from profiting. Any one of Dee Dee's siblings can sue her over her participation in the documentaries and writing of books. Thus far, no one has taken legal action against her. This is apparently a risk she's willing to take. Once again, this is just a theory. And from this post, what I get from it was that Katie Joy expected the same outcome like the first time she spoke out against them. Katie Joy expected Gypsy and Kristy to panic because now she is speaking about their finances, what Gypsy Rose may be doing wrong. But she herself was wrong, and she expected them to fall back in line and take her back. And unfortunately, that didn't happen. And that is why Katie Joy is where she is at today, selling them out. And I could be so wrong, and I'm okay with being wrong. Now, lastly, around the same time, Katie Joy made this post. When a friend asks me to help them get their story out, I do my best to help. The post reads, not me pitching a new docuseries to two separate production companies. Oh yes, that's exactly what I did today. A story that needs exposure. The real story. They said they were super interested. Is this the reason why Katie Joy is going off the edge? Because she has lost her subjects for her new docuseries that she planned and that she was pitching to the production companies? Has she lost her bag? Let me know what you guys think about this, because Katie Joy seems to have gotten the bug, since she felt that she she was the archival consultant for the Netflix series Dancing for the Devil, but she claimed that she could have never done this series without the help of Wilmer Valderrama's production company. Clearly she has some connections, and now maybe she feels that with these connections she can get Gypsy Rose's real story out. My question is, and once again, I'm okay with being wrong, did she promise Gypsy and Kristy Blanchard and the entire family that she would get them a real docuseries? Because she was dogging on Melissa Moore. She couldn't stop dogging on Melissa Moore. So that's where I'm at. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Thank you guys so much for taking time out of your busy schedules to actually watch this. I appreciate each and every one of you. Have a wonderful rest of your week. Please be safe out there. Be kind to one another. And don't forget, make good memories. Bye, guys.